Welcome to Saturday's episode of Speakers TV. And if you've been tuning in all throughout the week, I'm super excited about today's episode because not only have we got people sharing their own amazing stories about getting their message out there, but also we really believe in you and your message. And so that is why we've gone all around the world to bring to you some of the greatest speakers, some of the greatest lessons and actual tangible results to help you go from where you are today to where you really want to be. I'm super excited about today's episode, and I know that on your Saturday there is nothing else better to do than to tune into this episode here on Speakers TV. See you soon. So our very first speaker this morning, super excited about this speaker because Rebecca Tapp, she worked very closely with Julie Masters. So many of you guys were pretty much saying that Julie Masters was the highlight for yesterday. And not only that, Rebecca's also worked very closely with Anders Sorman-Nielsen as well. Some of you guys were also saying that Anders obviously was a highlight from yesterday. So one thing I love about Rebecca is not only has she been in this space for many years, but her and Julie were really the cornerstones that got many speakers into the international speaking market, etc., including me. And so she was assigned to be my person that really helped, mentored, coached me when I first flew up from Tasmania to go on to the international speaking circuit, and then I suppose the rest was history. One thing I also love about Rebecca is that she's got her hands and her fingers in many different pies, from bureaus to agencies to now management, etc. But one thing that she's done absolutely beautifully was to identify the speakers that have worked really well in the marketplace and why. And she found out that these speakers have a depth purpose that no one else really has. And so this morning, she's going to come up here and decode exactly what purpose is. So yeah, that's really cool. And by the way, I haven't even finished the intro. So I am going to intro like this. Are you ready? You ready? Watch this. Are you ready? Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something that you're looking for?
Tell me something, boy. Are you tired of trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore?
Give her a hand!
Good morning, everyone. How are you all? What is it to step from the shallows into the abyss? To pursue a life of meaning? Today, I am feeling so grateful to be standing on this stage, because today we get to ask on this stage some deeply profound questions. In fact, we even get to sing some deeply profound questions. Thank you, Sam, wherever you've gone. Woohoo! Questions that, in asking them, enable us to go on a journey into our potential, a journey into our future selves, a journey into the creation of the future of you. And that's why we're all here today, right? Some of you might have seen the Oscars on Monday night. Yes, no? If you did, you would have seen Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper perform the hit song Shallow. It's a song I certainly love, and I think most of the world also loves that song, given it won Best Song at the Oscars and has won multiple awards this year. And I think the reason this song really connects to the heartstrings is because it asks some of those profound questions. What does it mean to pursue fulfillment in our lives? What is it to crave love? What is it to look for purpose, to have a need to activate purpose and decode purpose? My journey into purpose began in 2015, and if you'd asked me about it at the time, I probably would have told you it was the most devastating period in my life. As it turns out, it ended up being the most transformational period in my life. I went through a personal crisis that really asked me to begin to strip away the walls, all of the structures that I thought identified me, that I thought was a roadmap for my future self. And quite literally, the rug was pulled from under my feet at that moment in time. And it was pretty devastating. I'm not going to say it wasn't a painful experience. But what ended up happening at that time, as the sun began to rise again in my life, I started to ask a question. Do you need more? Is that the kind of thing you're searching for? For me, that thing was purpose. I needed to create a vision for my future self at that time. I needed to see my potential. I needed to lean into what was possible. And then take the action, step into the transformation required to become my future self, to become that girl. Because that was what was going to pull me through. That is what was going to build resilience. And in that exploration, I was going to transform to discover who I really was. Oops. So purpose. Let's start with the definition. Now, purpose is the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. Now, the definition seems pretty simple, right? The explanation is far more complex. And the truth is, a lot of people are really quite confused about what purpose is. I'm going to start with a little bit of myth busting. See, a lot of people believe that purpose starts with why. I'm going to tell you, I don't think purpose starts with why at all. And I have two reasons for that. Firstly, when we think about this concept of asking why, we're actually looking to the past. And I believe that that purpose itself exists in the future. So when we look to the past, we ask, why did I act a certain way? Why do I feel a certain way? Why did I do that? And in that moment, we're looking to the past. We want to be looking to the future when we lean into purpose, because the future is what's going to propel us forward. The other thing about why is, you can ask a disengaged worker why they go to work. And they might come up with 20 million reasons why they go to work, and none of them might have anything to do with meaning. But they're all perfectly valid reasons. And I think that's the other part of asking why, is sometimes you can come up with 20 answers to why. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what we're really looking for in this conversation is clarity of purpose. We want clarity over confusion. And the truth is, a lot of people are really confused. Let's start looking at leadership. I was reading a report by Harvard Business Review titled The Business Case for Purpose. And in this report, it claimed that whilst 90% of leaders knew that purpose was good for business, knew that purpose was good for the bottom line, only 46% of those leaders actually implemented purpose-driven business strategy. That leaves an astounding 54% of leaders who, whilst knowing that purpose is good for business, have no idea how to identify or how to integrate a purpose-driven business strategy. I don't believe that purpose starts with why, because if it did, we would have all worked out what purpose was about. I believe that purpose starts with a what. What do you do? How do you contribute today? And how are you going to contribute tomorrow? What does that future look like? And if you're able to get clarity on the what, well, the why becomes pretty obvious after that. Larry Fink. Has anyone in the room heard of who Larry Fink is? Yes? So Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. And for those of you who don't know, BlackRock is a global investment management firm. In fact, they have something like 5.98 trillion in assets. So as you can imagine, they have a huge global network of CEOs. And every year, the CEO of BlackRock actually creates a public letter that he sends out to all of these CEOs. Now, in this year's letter, Larry Fink titled the letter Purpose and Profit. And what he said is, purpose is not the sole pursuit of profits, but the animating force for achieving them. To add a little bit more weight to Larry's perspective, I was reading the Deloitte Millennial Report, and in that report, it claimed that 75% of millennials do not believe that business cares about social impact or the community. Now, what I find truly astounding about this fact is that we know the millennials are the most purpose-driven generation to ever exist, and that they're as big as the boomers. We know this. In fact, they make up 35% of today's global workforce. Now, I just want to bring this back into the room for a minute. As Sam let you guys know, I've been in this industry for 15 years. So I really understand the power every single person has in this room to become the leaders of leadership, to be the influencers of those who influence, and the inspirers of those who inspire. If you're wanting to step into the corporate speaking industry, the professional speaking industry, then you better get your head around purpose pretty quickly, because we have a whole generation, 35% of today's workforce, who are purpose-driven. So if you're going to be educating leaders in corporate organisations, then you need to come on this journey with me and decode purpose along with me. Now, I've just listed off a whole bunch of metrics that connect meaning in the workplace, and there are millions of them out there. But in a conversation about purpose, meaning trumps metrics every single time. And if we're going to be looking at these statistics, then we have to ask the question, what is the true cost of staying in the shallows? 45% of Australians suffer a mental health condition, be it depression or anxiety. 200 people every single day, that is twice the size of this room, 200 people attempt to commit suicide and 8 succeed. That little face is my baby girl, Tiger Lily. She's now 10 months old. For 9 months, she grew inside me. And over the last 10 months, she has brought me more infinite joy, more infinite happiness, and more unconditional love than I could ever begin to express to you guys in this room today. It devastates me to think 8 mothers and 8 fathers lose their baby. They lose their child every single day. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert on mental health, and in fact, if you do need to speak to an expert, you will see the Beyond Blue website at the bottom of this slide. What I do hope is that one day we all truly understand how significant our lives are. That we really understand what it is to have meaning in our lives and what it is to impact another life. That if we could lean into that, if we could lean into the infinite possibility of love, of loving ourselves and loving the people around us, that I hope that one day we can bring this metric back to 0. So there are actually 4 types of purpose, but today I'm going to talk about what's called integrated purpose. Now, integrated purpose is another word for personal purpose. The best way I can describe to you integrated purpose is, again, to use an example of my little girl, Tiger Lily, who's currently learning to walk. Now, it is really quite incredible to see this little thing continue to get up And she gets up again, and then she'll smash her head on something, and then she'll get up again, and she'll try again, and then she'll have another bruise. And, you know, I'm constantly picking her up off the ground. But somehow there is like this innate force within her that just knows that she needs to keep getting up. She needs to keep moving, and that her future self is dependent on her ability to walk. My point is, purpose is inside of us. It's in our biology. It's our DNA. Now, I've been practicing this all week, deoxyribonucleic acid. Got it out there. So deoxyribonucleic acid is the life molecule that contains our genetic code. Now, at this point in time, you might be wondering what could possibly be similar about DNA and purpose. Actually, there's quite a lot. The first thing is DNA, as we all know, is inherited. So is purpose. What we inherit is our values, our culture, our belief system, and all of these attributes will inform how we engage with purpose. Secondly, DNA and purpose are influenced by the environment. Now, we all know that DNA evolves based on environmental stimulus. That's why we have survival of the fittest. Purpose is also something that responds to proximity. I know you guys speak about proximity a lot, especially the proximity in this room. Proximity, place, all of these things in our environment, in the present moment, will be informing our purpose. Thirdly, now I like this one. Purpose and DNA are both what I call interdimensional. It's a pretty cool word. So interdimensional is basically where our purpose can exist in something even though we have left whatever that is. So to give you a few examples, if we look at this through the lens of DNA, we all know that we pass on our DNA to our child. Now, we might pass away, but our DNA still continues to exist in our child. If we look at this, it still exists in our job, our legacy still exists. We might have built a business that we left, the purpose still exists. Some of you might have heard of an artist by the name of Vincent van Gogh. Here's a cool fact. He only sold one painting while he was alive. About 30 years after he died, someone found something like 30 of his paintings in a back room, which are today worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Really good example of interdimensional purpose. The other thing with DNA and purpose is this idea that DNA is a unique code. So is purpose. Purpose is a unique code, it's a unique fingerprint, and it's influenced by so many things that are deeply personal to our life experience. Today, I'm going to break down this concept of DNA into what I call the human code for meaning. So what we have is, firstly, one, decision. The choice we make to live a life of purpose. I believe that purpose is a choice. Secondly, we have narrative. Now, narrative is the story we tell ourselves about what we do, how we contribute, and the story that we tell the world. Finally, we have alignment. And this is our ability to live the story that we tell about purpose. Let's start with the decision. Now, anyone that I have met, and I know some incredible people who live a life of purpose, do so because they choose to do so. I think there definitely is a little bit of a myth out there that someday we'll discover our purpose or we'll find our purpose. Sorry guys, it's time to get conscious about the pursuit of purpose and make a decision to pursue meaning in your life. Maslow, in 1943, developed the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. And at the top of that hierarchy is self-actualization. And the way Maslow framed it was that a man must be what he can be. And it's about a man or woman's pursuit to reach their potential. What he didn't know is a woman must be what she can be, and she usually already is. That's why we get to celebrate International Women's Day on Friday. Happy International Women's Day to the ladies in the room. So I know you all heard Jules speak yesterday. She's pretty awesome, isn't she? So I've been blessed to work on and off with Jules for probably around 15 years now. And at the moment, we're working on a little project together known as the Inside Influence podcast. And I'm lucky enough to produce that podcast with Jules. So I get like sneak previews of the episodes before you guys all get to hear them. And in about 2 weeks, there's an episode coming out with a neuroscientist by the name of Bo Lotto. And I have a bit of a crush on Bo Lotto. So when I was listening to this episode, Bo spoke about what's called the equatorial zone. So in biology, the equatorial zone is the space in between. So Bo described it so beautifully when he said it's the space between the land and the sea, or it's the space on the edge of the forest. When I was flying in this morning, there was, I don't know if any of you flew in and looked down, but it's where the river meets the ocean, and I saw all the surfers bobbing there this morning, which was beautiful. To explain it simply, you'll see this butterfly up here. Now, we all know for a butterfly to become a butterfly, it first must be a caterpillar. And in the middle, it goes into the cocoon. So we can see this cocoon as being the equatorial zone, and this is a pretty magical space. It's a space of transformation. And to view this through the lens of purpose, if we truly want to live a life of purpose, if we truly want to become the butterfly, if we want to step into our potential, into the possibilities, we need to get comfortable with the equatorial zone. Now, I'm not saying the equatorial zone is a particularly easy place to be. In fact, often when we make the greatest changes, we do so because we have had to build resilience in that process. Now, if you think about being in this cocoon, it's pretty dark, it's sticky in there. I don't know I'm becoming a butterfly yet. But in time, we do in fact become the butterfly. The equatorial zone is a space of our stories are a communal currency of humanity. So narrative, this is the story we tell ourselves about our contribution in the world, and it's also the story that we tell others. Jules might have mentioned yesterday that storytelling is the way that we are able to activate empathy with our audience, and in doing so, the audience are then inspired to take action from that empathy. So the ability to be able to get clear on your own on-purpose story and then to share that story with others is actually at the heart of influence, which is something that you should all be very aware of going into the speaking industry. So I want to give you 3 quick tips with regards to storytelling. To use the DNA example, if my genes say my eyes are blue, which they're not, but if they did, then my eyes are blue. When we're crafting a story of purpose, we must ensure that story is true. Now, I can go buy coloured contact lenses, but you're going to know it's fake. You need to ensure that you can live, that you can walk your story of purpose. Secondly, you need to ensure that your story of purpose is credible. In order to gauge credibility, you need to look to the past. What are my tools? What are my talents? What have I spent time doing in my life? Now, I wouldn't ever be able to say that my purpose statement is I'm going to inspire people with the most beautiful piano, because I can't actually save a piano to save myself. It's just not credible. Your narrative needs to have credibility built into its blueprint. Finally, purpose has the innate ability to tell a story of what's possible in the future. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about purpose is it's a future blueprint. It holds the key to the future of you. I was reading an article about an actress called Nichelle Nichols, and she played Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek. And at that particular time, she was wanting to leave the cast. Martin Luther King actually asked her not to leave the cast because he believed she represented a future where a woman would be judged by her character, not her colour. Purpose tells a story of what's possible tomorrow. Finally, we have alignment. Now, alignment is the ability to form an alliance, to come into agreement. A really beautiful word I've used to describe alignment is congruency. So I have come up with something that I call the purpose quotient, to be able to capture this idea of what it is to feel congruent, to be able to gauge whether you're on purpose or off purpose in any given moment. So the purpose quotient is something, in order to describe this, I've actually stolen a few notes from the science sector. So we actually have three brains. We have the cognitive brain, we have the heart brain, and we have the gut brain. Now, we've just spoken about narrative. So our cognitive brain is where we form a story of purpose. It's where we get intentional, it's where we make decisions. If we come down to the heart, we move into what I call heart intelligence. Did you know that the heart actually has neurons that can think and feel and do? And in fact, the heart sends more messages to the brain than the other way around, which I think is extraordinary. So how do we begin to read heart energy? And I think we really need to begin to tune into our body at that point in time. So think about a time where you've been off purpose. What you'll find is your shoulders hunch. Your breath will become shallow. You may feel a sense of heaviness. You may feel a depression. Opposed to experiencing a time where you're on purpose and your whole posture will change. You will take a deeper breath. You'll feel a sense of lightness, a sense of joy and expansion. And in doing so, you will be able to connect. You'll connect with yourself. You'll connect with the people around you. You'll connect with the community and the planet at large. The heart is an extraordinary measure of purpose. Finally, if we move down into the gut and the brain are connected by what's called the vagus nerve. So I'm sure there would be some 10X speakers in the room right now who are feeling butterflies in the stomach, yeah? That is your tools. When it comes to working out whether we're on purpose or off purpose, is gut instinct. We've all been at a crossroad in our lives, at a point where we need to make an important decision. And it's in those moments that sometimes logic doesn't have the answer. We actually need to tune in. We need to feel into whether we're on purpose or off purpose, and our gut will tell us if we give it space to be heard. Finally, I'm not here today to define purpose for you. I'm here to provide you with a code, DNA, in order to begin to define purpose for yourself. What I believe purpose to be is a truly magical and transformational process. It's an energy in motion. It exists in the present moment. It's what inspires you to take action to become your future self, to step into your potential, and to ultimately become the butterfly that you're here today to all be. Thank you.
Ah, very good.
Coming up, having fun.
Ah, yeah.
One thing that I want to acknowledge you about is investing in yourself and ultimately spending time in online education. If you can learn how you can influence more powerfully through video, if you can learn how to create like your online virtual product and even make money online right now, then I'd love to help you through that journey as well.
To all the staff from Speakers Institute, you guys have been really supportive and really, really lovely and encouraging. But to everybody else, for all of your honesty and your courage for stepping up here and just giving all, because I've learned so much from every single one of you and it's just been really, really good.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done, and it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations, and thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant, and it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before, because you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
Sam, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That has been absolutely awesome. I've learned a hell of a lot today, and I really feel like we're all improving. So thank you so much. It's been a really awesome.
I wish everyone all the best on the course. I think it's a wonderful course. And Sam, you've created an amazing business. But I also want to congratulate the people you've got working underneath you, because it wouldn't be that great if you didn't have all this wonderful resource. And I congratulate them for supporting you. It's excellent.
I'd actually just like to thank Sam and the team so much for everything you've done, but I'd really like to thank everybody else. I have learnt so much from all of you. It's just been so exhilarating. I'm so excited for each and every one of you, because it's just the growth in such a short space of time has been phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much.
So I want to say, look, I've forever been doing courses and programs. I've probably spent over $350,000 in my life. This was worth every cent. I'm very, very impressed with the level of knowledge of the coaches. And they just kept offering gold nugget after gold nugget. Definitely was worth every minute as well. So thanks.
Hi guys, I just wanted to say my work relies on face-to-face workshops, speaking at conferences around the world. So investing in this course is really about looking to the future. So it's really an investment in the long term. It's been a really, really professionally put together course. So commendations all round to all of you.
Share, how good the feeling was after completing the session, and I think the feedbacks were just too good. So that is forcing me to think beyond. I think it was pretty linear thinking earlier, and now it is pretty diversified. So that is very helpful.
I think for me personally, this is the first time I've felt that I've been in such a safe space to be vulnerable and to make mistakes. And I know that a lot of us have shared some really traumatic events in our life, possibly for the first time publicly. So that's just been a really huge thing. So thank you for everyone for opening up and for people to open up and be authentic.
I'd like to firstly acknowledge you, Sam. Thank you so much for instituting the Speakers Institute and all of the lovely people who've attended today. I think they've done an absolutely wonderful job. I think all of their stories are worthy of stage presence. I think you'll all go very far.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done, and it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations. And thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant, and it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before. Because when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
And it was really an experience which I was looking for, to give that push, the last push which is needed, because I'm very low on execution. So your story and your message gave me that push which I really needed. So thank you very much, and also to the fellow participant for bearing with me.
Thank you, everyone. You've all inspired me today, and I want to thank you, Sam, for putting this on, and Christiane and Charlene inspired me to come through conversations we had, and so I'd like to thank her in particular, and got a lot out of it. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for all the lovely comments.
First of all, I would like to say thank you, massive thank you to every single one of you. It was a great company. Proximity is power. I'm overwhelmed with all the love and energy and everything else. I've learned so much, and by this sheer circumstances, by now that I'm sitting at home and I actually can do it, I'm blown away that I'm actually doing it. It's amazing.
And I really want to thank you, Sam, for this amazing course.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank every single one of you, especially you, Sam, and all of the mentors as well. There can be at times where we're alone. We think we're the only ones, we feel like we're the only ones going through that, and to share would be to burden each other. But in a space like this, it actually brings us closer together. So thank you very much for sharing all your stories, and thank you for the opportunity.
I'd actually just like to thank Sam and the team so much for everything you've done, but I'd really like to thank everybody else. I have learnt so much from all of you. It's just been so exhilarating. I'm so excited for each and every one of you because it's just the growth in such a short space of time has been phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It has been absolutely awesome. I've learned a hell of a lot today and I really feel like we're all improving. So thank you so much. It's been really awesome.
I wish everyone all the best on the course. I think it's a wonderful course. And Sam, you've created an amazing business. But I also want to congratulate the people you've got working underneath you because it wouldn't be that great if you didn't have all this wonderful resource. And I congratulate them for supporting you. It's excellent.
Thank you very much. All the feedbacks were golden for me. I learned a lot. Plus, how I should not try to put all the information in those 6 minutes. I should let the audience absorb what I'm trying to convey. They should absorb my story. And so as the energy level should fluctuate properly at the right moment. So thank you very much for that.
So I want to say, look, I've forever been doing courses and programs. I've probably spent over $350,000 in my life. This was worth every cent. I'm very, very impressed with the level of knowledge of the coaches. And they just kept offering gold nugget after gold nugget. Definitely was worth every minute as well. Yeah, I really want to thank the coaches. And I've noticed a difference in everyone as well over the last couple of days as well. So thanks.
Guys, I just wanted to say my work relies on face-to-face workshops, speaking at conferences around the world. So investing in this course is really about looking to the future. So it's really an investment in the long term. It's been a really, really professionally put together course. So commendations all round to all of you.
To all the staff from Speakers Institute, you guys have been really supportive and really, really lovely and encouraging. But to everybody else, for all of your honesty and your courage for stepping up here and just giving all, because I've learned so much from every single one of you and it's just been really, really good. Thank you.
This is the Celebrity Authority Show. Please welcome your host, Sam Cawthorn.
All right, here we have in the studio Anoop Batra. Anoop, you are all the way from Melbourne. Thank you so much for joining us here in the studio.
My pleasure, Sam.
So Anoop, originally from India, now based in Melbourne, run a super successful digital marketing company. Tell us a little bit more about your background before you moved through to Australia.
Yes, so I came from a family where where my dad had a transferable job, and right since my childhood, I would move from city to city in India every 3 years. So I got to see the whole country, and my dad was a distinguished engineer. He was actually the president of the All India Engineers Association. So he had very high standards when it came to academics. So
and particularly in India, when academics and education is very prestigious, that would have been hard for you as a young kid.
Yes. Initially, it was like when my dad, he used to inspire me to study long hours, and I used to get motivated, and he showed me a structure. So he organized the timetable for me, where I had to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and study for a couple of hours before I went to school, and then come back from school, take rest for 45 minutes and get up and then start studying till dinner time. And then it was about that time that my dad would come back from office, and after dinner he would review the work I had done, like my homework and other studies, and it was pretty strict. Like it had to be up to the mark, and only then he was happy. So as a result of that, I started doing really well in school, and I was looked up upon, and this went on for about 5 years, and then I started getting these voices within me. I was around 14 at that time, and I started getting these voices that probably there is more to life than what I am doing, and this is not really the purpose of my life. And it was at that point that I wandered off to a bookshop in my town market, and there I picked up a book which was called the Bhagavad Gita, which actually means the divine verses. And this book talked about the purpose of human life, being self-discovery and recognizing the divinity in each human being, and it also talked about how futile most people's lives are, as they spend it in their day-to-day learning grammar or doing trade, importing, exporting, and stuff like that. So I sort of underwent a transformation, almost an enlightenment at that point in time, which actually was very profound for me, because it essentially became the theme of my life. And from then on, I did a lot of exploration, and I explored every school of spiritual thought, right from Christianity to the Muslim religion. I read the Quran, the Bible, the Sikh religion, to find out what was the meaning of life. And then I went off to the Himalayas, and I talked to the spiritual masters over there, and I asked them questions, and I met some mystics who were actually very advanced, who had dedicated their whole life to learning about divinity within man, and so they had an exceptional presence, and even their blessings, like I think they moved me forward in life, and so and from there I started. I also had a fascination for technology, and my very first interaction with the internet, it was like falling in love. So
just very quickly, you sound like you were very ahead of your time, because right now, all throughout the world, there's a real curiosity to spirituality. There's a real curiosity to everything from yoga through to meditation, through to, studying various religions and having this really holistic view towards spirituality. But it sounds like you did a lot of this in your teenage and in your early years in your life, so very much ahead of your time, and now all of a sudden you're talking about technology, which is two really opposite ends of the spectrum. Really, you've got spirituality, which is very inner, and then you've got technology, which is very outer, and you're bringing these together. Tell us more.
Yeah, because what I believe is that everything is energy. So it is the spiritual energy, the energy coming from source that manifests into like the technology that we see, or the digital that we see. So it's all coming from an idea. So if you say, what was the internet? There was someone who was sitting in a university in America doing some experiments, and then he got an idea, and that idea got from that idea, the internet got birthed. So really, it is the source. What is beneath or underneath that is the source, which is the divinity within all human beings and all creations, and the internet we see, and the technology that is developing. And that's why we see these days, like, it is global. It is in everything. So like if it was just an external or material thing, it could have been confined to one place and be local.
Yeah.
But the nature of divine intelligence is that it is non-local, and you can find it in every aspect of creation. So that's why it very quickly from the US, it went to every part of the world. And because of that, today, like, I could have an idea, and that idea could be shared by someone in San Francisco, Amsterdam, any other part of the world, and companies are collaborating across different regions. So it's a marked shift in how things operate, and this whole people working remotely, for example, is another example of it. Because if that divinity can be tapped into from any part of the world, then why not?
So tell us a little bit more about what you're currently doing. So at the moment, you run a successful digital marketing company in Melbourne. Tell us a little bit more about that. What's it called?
It's called Arrow Digital.
Yeah.
So we've now actually got the Arrow Group. Like so So we started early. We started with a digital marketing company, and now what we are doing is we are bringing talent from around the world together as well into what is called digital superstars. So what our goal is to bring the top 1% of talent from around the world available to any employer in any place. So if today, for us sitting here in Sydney, if we wanted to tap into someone in Mumbai or Jakarta or Philippines or any other part of the world, we could just tap into them straight away.
Great, great. That's all. And now you have this message to the world to blur the worlds of technology and digital, computering really, all the way through to spirituality and bringing a sense of enlightenment. Tell us a little bit more about your message.
Yes. So what I am seeing here is that digital is changing at a rapid pace, and digital disruption is taking place all over the world. And most people, when they think of digital disruption, they think of common examples like Uber and Airbnb. But the reality is that almost every industry is getting Ubered these days.
They are.
Yeah, and so because of that, because like we see in the real estate industry, like here, so an Australian local company, just a group of two partners have come up with a company called Rate My Agent, which has disrupted the whole real estate industry.
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah. Or super funds are coming up, like a few people are starting a super fund, or digital banks are coming up, which are more competitive than banks who've got much more infrastructure and finance available to them. And we see that with Speakers Institute, that so much of digitization has been done, wherein anyone from anywhere in the world can tap into the Protege program, and from there access all the material and see Sam giving a classroom. So it is absolutely remarkable the pace at which digitization is taking place. And one of our clients, for example, they are in the education business, and their business was confined to Melbourne and Sydney. And we, after having a brainstorming session with them, we decided to take their business digital. So instead of just providing physical education, he is now providing e-learning modules to people across the world. And so now it's not about doubling his business or making it quadruple, but making it 100 times. And in the very same industry, the people who are sitting back and are complacent, yes, they have business today, but that they are not aware of the fact that in 5 years' time, they may not have a business because the consumer's habits are changing completely.
So then that means that this so-called digital enlightenment, which you're talking about, for those businesses out there that really don't want to be Ubered in tomorrow's world,
yes,
what is a formula or a system that you can teach other people to catch a hold of their digital enlightenment for their own business?
Yes, so for them, like us taking a step back and not being reactive. So a lot of companies, like 84% of the Fortune 500 companies who tried to respond to digital change failed. So it's a method by which by not being reactive and coming up with a big picture response to change, taking a deep breath and acting from that space within, where from your enlightened space you can see clearly what the future is like, what are the stumbling blocks, what is the market like. And this can only take place if you're willing to let go of your preconceived notions and beliefs.
Right.
And that is the first step towards digital
First step,
enlightenment.
let go.
Yes, it is let go or surrender.
Surrender.
Yeah. And the second step is, once you have surrendered, you decided to let go of your own beliefs, like my client who is in the education business, when he let go and he decided to brainstorm, like myriad of opportunities came up. We put about 10 different things that he can be doing based on what's happening in technology around the world, and then we decided to make his company an e-learning company.
Great.
So So, and through that he got the flow, and now he's developed that e-learning system, which he's about to roll out into almost 50 countries around the world.
So the first step is surrender.
Surrender.
Second step is
flow map.
Flow map. Third step is?
And the third step, once you've made the change, is to realign.
Realign.
Because digital is changing, because of the digital change that is happening, the market is changing, the competition is changing, the technology is changing. By the time you have made one set of changes, things have changed.
Absolutely.
So you need
keeping up to it.
Keep up to it, or sort of stay ahead of the curve. Yes.
So there you have it. So those people that do not want to be Ubered in tomorrow's world, we need to be digitally aligned. Number one is you need to be
surrender.
Number two,
flow map.
Number three,
realign.
Great advice there for really anyone at all that really wants to stay ahead of the curve. Tell me other things. What does Anoop Batra love doing in his spare time?
So one of the things, because I'm so digitally obsessed, like I do like to look at digital technology and play. I'm a little bit of a gamification guy as well, and but I also have that within me, the soulful part which enjoys meditation. So I like to get up early in the morning before everyone's got up and spend at least an hour in a day going deep within myself, and then I set aside about 2 or 3 times in a day when I meditate, and that actually keeps me totally free from stress, and I have, the more I practice this, I find that I become more joyful and I can contribute more to other people. I really enjoy nature, so I live close to the beach, so I very often walk down to the beach and go on the beach trails and just sit by the ocean and listen to the waves, and I feel I have a special relationship with the ocean because I can almost hear it. Like, it's almost like, for me, it's like not like a mass of water, but it's almost like a being whom I can hear and communicate with. Yeah.
Anoop, thank you so much for joining us here at the Celebrity Authority Show. Just before you go, though, we do have a little challenge here, and the challenge is 10 questions in 60-second challenge. Anoop Batra, do you accept the challenge?
Yes.
All right, Anoop, your time starts now. Favorite color?
Favorite color, blue.
Blue. Favorite food?
Favorite food, pad thai.
Pad thai. I love pad thai. Favorite celebrity?
Favorite celebrity, Sam Cawthorn.
Thank you. Favorite actor?
Favorite actor, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. I like Tom Cruise. He's great. Favorite professional speaker?
Favorite professional speaker, Anoop Batra.
Look at that. I love it. Favorite book?
Favorite book, Illusions by Richard Bach.
Yeah, that's a great book. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie, Endless Love.
Endless Love. Yeah, that's a great movie. Favorite city?
Favorite city, San Francisco.
San Francisco. Yeah, well, that's where all the technology is. Yeah, absolutely. Favorite drink?
Favorite drink, vodka.
Vodka. Favorite pizza topping?
Favorite pizza topping, mushroom.
And Anoop Batra, if you could be an animal, which animal would you be?
I would be a leopard.
A leopard? Why is that?
Because the leopard is swift and it knows what it needs, it knows how to get it.
Very good. So there you have it, Anoop Batra here in the studio. Please welcome again Anoop Batra. Thank you again for coming on to the show.
Have you ever been in a situation where somebody, a child or maybe an adult, has had an emotional response to something and you have felt completely inadequate?
Hi, I'm Harry Candlin, and I made the choice to come to boot camp so that I could really improve the way that I could speak to my audience. And what I've learned is the real art of story showing, not just storytelling, and how powerful that can be.
I live my life at 5'2". I can see to the back of the room, I can see everybody there. But children, they live their life down here. So what can they see? Well, I can see shoes and feet and bags. Not a lot. Rent to pay, friends to talk to, that we miss it
There's a verse in the Bible which I was thinking about there as I was watching you speak. And by the way, outstanding story showing. But the verse is from Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of God has risen up on you. This is your verse. And I believe that God is calling you right now to arise and shine, for your light has come. Ella is a business consultant in Sydney, coaching entrepreneurs on creating a life and business they love with solid intentions, systems that run like clockwork, and a long-term strategy that aligns with the values and vision. Her vision for the world is to heal people of their suffering through personal development programs, workshops, and support tribes. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ella Garcia!
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Marianne Williamson. Have you ever felt this burning desire to serve a mission greater than yourself and to leave a legacy in this world? Have you ever had this burning desire to create a life that you love but can't understand how to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be? Or maybe you truly want to do something that's on your heart but feel you're constantly spinning your wheels. For too long, we've dimmed our own light and stood in our own way because we have succumbed to believing in the beliefs, stories, and the social conditioning that our society feeds us. See, we're living in a society now that in order for us to have a happy ending, the princess needs to marry the prince. And money is the root of all. And money doesn't grow on trees. Beautiful. So there's all these beliefs that we've been conditioned by in our society that creates a complete belief structure that basically manifests what our physical world is. So what these beliefs are is they create what's called an internal vibration in ourselves. How many of you agree that everything's energy? Everything is energy. So every single thing that we truly believe manifests in our internal vibration. So everything we are vibrating out internally creates our external world. It is said that 1 in 5 people in Australia suffer from depression. 20% of our population wake up in the morning not feeling a sense of happiness or fulfillment in their lives. Why do you think this is? It's because we have a society. There is a quote, "In a society that profits from your self-doubt, liking yourself is a rebellious act." I'd love to take you back to December 2016, a bit over 14 months ago now. December 2016, I'd just gotten out of a 2-year relationship, and I hit rock bottom with my life. I remember months to the lead up of that. I remember crying myself to sleep every night, asking myself, is this all there is? So when I hit rock bottom in 2016 after this relationship breakdown, I was 10 foot under the ground with self-esteem. I didn't even know which way was up. I was so low in confidence that I couldn't even actually tell you what my favorite color was. See, here's what I did, was I spent an entire decade since I was 17 years old in 3 back-to-back long-term relationships, an entire decade in 3 long-term relationships, searching for something that was never outside of myself the entire time. Not understanding that the most important relationship I was ever going to have in my life was the relationship I had within myself. So what I was doing is I was getting into relationships with people and saying, "You're responsible for my happiness. Come on. So that when the actual relationship broke down, I felt such an eerie sense of emptiness. It's like a deep sadness. Anybody has ever been punched in the chest before? Not really? But it felt like that. There was a deep sense of emptiness. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this has happened again. Another relationship breakdown. I swore he was the one. Right? So here's what I truly believe, is that when you hit rock bottom in your life, and you get to that place, and when life brings you to your knees, you are forced to look within. Because everything you'd ever done from then on in wasn't working, because you still hit rock bottom. You still were unhappy. And what happened for me was, it took me 3 months. 3 months to turn my life around and to never ever be at that rock bottom stage ever again. And when I was actually brought to my knees, I discovered something that I was never taught in school, I was never taught by my mother, I was never taught by anybody. And if I were to tell you I discovered one thing that I now embody to this day, and the one thing that I unlocked about myself and uncovered within myself, that would guarantee that I would never be in this place ever again, and I told you that's what I found out, would you want to know what it was? Yeah, awesome. Consciousness. Committing to maintaining a high level of consciousness in your life will be the surefire way to set yourself free from any stories, beliefs, and any conditioning that has ever stood in your way from being the best version of you. See, here's the thing, is when I got out of this relationship, I then had to go on a journey to find the answers as to why I was feeling so unhappy. And that external validation from people I was always seeking, and understanding that a high level of consciousness was the key to out. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, you guys can Google this, you can find this anywhere. This is the game of life. This is what I discovered to take myself from here to a place of absolute fulfillment, is absolutely committing to raising my vibration, to raising my consciousness. See, here's the game of life, is when we truly understand this, that nothing is ever outside of us, when we truly understand that the happiness we seek is never from anywhere outside of us but within, and we commit to raising our vibration, to raising our level of consciousness, that's when the game of life starts to change. That's when we can truly create a high sense of joy every single day. Every single morning when I wake up, I grab a hold of the sheets, and I'm so grateful for the sheets that I wake up in. Gratitude is very, very high on the consciousness funnel. This is the game. We are all in the game in life of raising our vibration. This is cool, right? The key to happiness, the key to freedom, the key to everything. But there's one catch. There's one catch to this, is that it is not enough to have a high level of consciousness, and it is not enough to be aware of the things that truly stand in your way, and it's not enough to identify the limiting beliefs that actually keep us from playing a bigger game. We need to embody one more thing, and it's this. We need to transcend from our victim mentality and be responsible for every single thing that comes into our world. So every single thing that causes you discomfort is happening for you, not to you. And so what I discovered was that all of a sudden my life became a really awesome game of being able to go, oh, awesome, what's going to come into my world now? And whenever I got uncomfortable and I actually faced off with whatever limiting stories and beliefs were there, then I was able to take responsibility for them. Oh, this is happening for me. It's awesome. And so, how many of you guys here actually have somebody in your life that when they walk in the room, their natural state is whinging? Yeah, we've all got one of those people. And these people always play below the line. They always play in that victim mindset. They will never live a life of freedom. They will never step into their truest potential because they will never take responsibility for the things that stand in their way. This is the formula, guys. This is the key to everything. This is the key to life. When we raise our consciousness, we raise our vibration, we raise our awareness as to the things that are truly standing in our way, and then we transcend above. We transcend our stories, we transcend our beliefs, and we live a life of true freedom, fulfillment, and leadership. This formula is free for you guys today. So these are the 4 pillars. There are so many ways to raise your vibration. So many ways. There are thousands of ways to raise your vibration and to raise your level of consciousness. So these are the 4 pillars that I embody every single day in my life to maintain that high level of energy and consciousness. And I get to see the things that truly stand in my way. Within a second, I pick it and I'm like, ooh, I see you, but I'm going to go this way. I'm going to choose differently now. So these are the 4 pillars: meditation, nature, journaling, and play. It seems very simple. Very, very simple. But companies don't teach you this because they can't sell it to you. It's free. Do all this stuff. You will truly step into your greatest potential, and you will step into the leader you are meant to be. Alignment is the new hustle, and consciousness is the new black. Thank you.
Very good. Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much, Ella. And again, an amazing. Right now, everything is about video. And if you want to learn video communication success, then watch this very short video. Hey guys, my name is Sam Cawthorn. I'm the CEO and founder of Speakers Institute. In this video, I'm going to teach you the 5 tips for video communication success. And right now, in this virtual digital world, there is no better time to upgrade this as a skill set, ready for the upswing that is to come in a post-COVID world. This is going to be a great masterclass, so make sure you tune in, write some notes, take screenshots, whatever it is. It's just going to be a very short video. All right, let's get started. So the very first thing here, whenever you want video communication success, you want to make sure that branding you and the frame and the professionalism of that is absolutely imperative. Even right now, look at the frame in and around me. So as you can see here, over this side here, you've got some lights. Over this side here, yes, you do have a plant. You've got the banner up the top here with some of my logos. You've also got a white jacket. Why? Because everything else is black in the background. And then you've got my icon here on my shirt as well. And even here in this second frame here, you can see my ring light there. You can also see other books and presentations, etc., that you can see here as well. So for me, guys, I want to make sure that in this virtual digital world, while everyone's going online, that first impression of the entire frame in and around you is imperative for you to look like either a professional or an amateur. So the very first thing there is branding you and the frame. The next one here is sound and lighting. You know what's really interesting is that just because you might have a little bit of poor picture quality, let's say the pixels aren't there and it's not quite 4K, professionalism, the listener will give you a little bit of grace for bad picture quality. But the listener will not give you grace if it's bad audio quality. So audio is absolutely imperative, and we'll talk about that in a moment. However, when it does come to lighting ultimately is absolutely imperative. That is why it is important for you to look at investing in one of these ring lights, yeah? So the ring lights, the reason why the ring lights are so great is mainly because there's no shadow at all that's going to be behind you. If you just had one light coming in, then ultimately there might be a shadow in certain angles. So that's why ring lights are really, really good, and the sharpness of both your audio and your lighting is going to be imperative for you to come across as a professional, and even just particularly in that first impression as well. So when it does come to audio, my encouragement to you would be to invest in a microphone. There's no better investment in today's world than a ring light and also a professional microphone. If you're paying paying less than $100, then it is an amateur microphone. If you're paying more than $100, that's the general rule of thumb, then ultimately it's going to be a better quality microphone. And my encouragement always is to look at reviews. There's some great brands out there. However, always look at the reviews, because the reviews will speak louder than words, and will also be a good investment for you, and that way you will get a return on your investment. The next one here is confidence versus certainty, and specifically your eyes. Now, the really, really interesting thing is this, right? Watch this, ready? See, I'm looking in the camera lens right now, so I'm looking right in the lens. Now, let's say hypothetically, if I'm using, let's say, GoToWebinar or Zoom, or if I'm using, Microsoft Meetings or WebEx or the like, what normally happens is I actually look at the screen and look at everyone's face, etc., rather than looking in the lens. See the difference? Look where my eyes go. Ready? So I can now look in the screen rather than look in the lens. And sometimes, even the screen is just below the lens, like here. So if I look just below the lens, I'm actually not truly connecting with you. Now watch the difference. Ready? The moment that I look in the lens, I'm now truly connecting with you. So my encouragement to you is, number one, make sure the lens is at eye level. A lot of the time when we look up at laptops, we're actually looking up like this, or alternatively looking down like this, yeah? But what you really want to do, you want to make sure that it is on eye level, and ultimately there as well, you also want to make sure that you're looking directly in the camera lens as well. And that way then you come across with more certainty. Did you also know that the less you blink, the more certain you come across? Interesting, isn't it? Did you also know the more that you pause, the more you come across more intelligent? Fascinating. Here's another one, ready? If you open your mouth when you're not speaking, you come across with less intelligence. So keep your mouth closed when you're not speaking, and you'll come across with more intelligence. Interesting, isn't it? Let's have a look at the next one. The next one here is specifically in and around, even the transitions, what I'm doing right now. So I'm transitioning, yes, to a full screen here. I'm then transitioning here to a side screen here as well. And then I'll go back here to full screen. And then ultimately, then I'll go back here to... You want to make sure that the transitions are seamless and frictionless. And also, particularly if you're doing a seminar, a presentation, a workshop, if other people then are talking, it's important then for you to prep them before they talk. Say, for example, let's say I'm in a meeting and let's say I want Tom to speak. I'll say, hey, Tom, can I get you to unmute yourself? Because I'd love to also hear from your perspective on this thing as well. So, Tom, just unmute yourself. Great. Now, Tom, what are your thoughts on it? Now, Tom will then speak. So what I did just then, I pre-framed Tom to unmute himself. Have you noticed that the number one quote of 2020 and 2021 is ultimately, you're on mute? Have you noticed that? You're in a meeting and someone then says, and then all of a sudden you think, you're on mute. Anyway, I think it's really important for you to get the transitions right. Or another word is the segue. Segue from camera to camera, from slide, from people to speaking, etc. And if you're the facilitator, if you're the presenter, it's really important for you to get that right. And then the last one here is energy and passion. So you can already see my energy and passion. It is quite high. It is a little bit Red Bull, and that's okay because that's just simply my style. I'm certainly not saying for you to be like me. Excuse me. However, one thing I am though saying is that when it does come to connecting with people through the camera, it is really important for you to have a heightened level of energy, of your greatest energy come through. Why? Because it is 3 times more harder to win people's attention through the camera lens than what it is face to face. And at the moment in this digital virtual world, it's important for you to actually win people's attention. That is why I cannot encourage you enough to ensure that your energy and your passion is coming through that lens, that there is actually a level of enthusiasm. And again, sometimes it's just simply imagining that you've just drunk 6 cans of Red Bull. Bring that energy up, and that way then you can manage your energy. Being monotone is very boring. And when it does come to winning people's attention, if a lot of people, we think that we need the greatest content in the world, but in all reality, if you want the greatest content in the world, go and be a university lecturer, because they have way more content than most other people, which then begs the question. Yes, your content is important, but I think your delivery is even more important, is what we call here at Speakers Institute, your methodology. But anyway, guys, I trust that this video really helped you on your journey, and I'm really excited about you getting out there and making more of a difference in the world, influencing more people, getting more followers, and ultimately ensuring that the best is yet to come for your life. I would love to see you in one of our programs here at Speakers Institute, so please click on any links on this page, or alternatively, just find out more on our website, speakersinstitute.com. We will see you guys really soon. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode here at Speakers TV. My name is Sam Cawthorn, and we are super excited about Speakers TV and about these episodes that we bring to you every single weekday, as well as also on every single Saturday. Guys, we'd love to hear from you. If you've got any feedback at all for us, or maybe you want to comment right now in the chat bar about what was your biggest takeaway from today's session. But also, not only that, why don't you join us? So here at Speakers Institute, we do have a number of programs, such as our online boot camps or our protege program. At Speakers Tribe here, we're all about running these big, large annual conferences every year. But also, not only that, there is an annual membership that you can get where in your city we do have tribe gatherings, all really encouraging you going from where you are today to where you really want to be. Or maybe you want to tell your friends and your family about Speakers TV. But can I please encourage you, why don't you like this page? Why don't you join us each day? Why don't you tell other people about these episodes? Because we are all about really helping you on this journey to becoming that recognized voice of authority, for you to find your message and your story and get that out there into the world. We are super excited about your journey, so please lean in and join us today. To your success, my name is Sam Cawthorn, and don't forget, the best is yet to come.